Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. My name is Rick, also known as at Twigcapper on Twitter. I'm going to talk about the 2015 Kentucky Derby Contenders and Pretenders. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the past performances for each of these horses. Now show you a video of the contenders and give you some pros and cons. I'm not going to talk about I'm not going to talk in horse racing lingo. I'm going to talk in a way where it will be comprehensible for a beginner or an expert in horse racing. So let's get to it. On top of the leaderboard, we have International Star. Some pros, he's by Fusaichi Pegasus. So that basically, this right here, sire, just means that his dad is Fusaichi Pegasus, who won the Kentucky Derby several years back. He won his last three races, so that's good. These were lower class races; they're grade twos. Grade one races are the top races in the country. So that's good. He has a right running style. He's a closer. Closers usually do well in the Kentucky Derby. One negative that I found here, when he raced at Churchill Downs, he already has experience at Churchill Downs, where that's where the Kentucky Derby is. He was fourth, and he didn't really look all that good on that surface. So if there's any negatives, that's one. And he also, when he faced grade one competition, albeit it was on a turf race, he was ninth. So I don't see him winning, but I can see him coming in second, third at best. So I'm going to show a quick video of the Louisiana Derby, which was his last race. So in this race, he closes from sort of mid-pack, and he's trying to beat Stanford here. I like that he was engaged with them in a dogfight, and he ends up winning this fight. So I like that he's gritty. He's a fighter. Cool horse. Not a win contender for me, but I could see him being in the money. The next horse is actually my pick. His name's Dortmund. So some positives. He's by Big Brown. Big Brown. His dad was Big Brown. Big Brown won the Kentucky Derby in 2008. Also, he's trained by Bob Baffert, which is one of the better trainers in the country, maybe in the world. He's also won 3 Kentucky Derbies. And so a few positives. He's undefeated. He's won 2 grade 1 races, which are the top class races in the country. And so he's beat Firing Line, which is a pretty good horse. This horse went raced in the Sunland Derby, and he won by like 15 lanes. So that just kind of shows his class. And the video that I want to show here is I think it's his second race. They flew him out to Churchill Downs to kind of see if he would like the track. And I honestly think this is one of his better races. He breaks from the 12 post. He breaks from the far post out here. This is sort of what I think is going to be the ideal type of trip for him. I'm going to fast forward it because I'm trying to get a lot of information in this video. So this is Dortmund right here. He ends up winning this race. My feeling is that he's still a baby here, and he kind of destroys his field. I really feel like he really likes this surface. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here, and then I'm going to show you this is another reason why I like this horse. This is the Robert Lewis Stakes. I actually was here to witness this race. Let's see if my internet will cooperate. Okay, so what I liked about this race was that Firing Line, this other horse on the outside, goes past him, and a lot of horses, when this happens, they give up. And Dortmund here, he never quits. He's still coming at him. He's still coming at. He's looking at him. And he's saying, "No, hell no." And eventually he comes back and he wins this race. So this just kind of tells me that either one Firing Line was getting tired, or he's a fighter, or both. So I think this horse is going to fight. And that's why he's going to fight anybody that's trying to pass him. He's going to fight him and try to come back at him. That's why he's my pick. I guess if you had to look at some negatives, his pedigree's pretty weak on his mother's side. His average winning distance of his mom's father, Damsire, is 6.7. So that's pretty weak. Then we have Carpe Diem. And Carpe Diem, he is one of the better bred horses in this field. He's by Giants Causeway, which was a really good turf horse and a really good long distance turf horse. He almost won the Breeders' Cup Classic at Churchill Downs, which is the distance of the Kentucky Derby, 1.25 miles. And then his Damsire and Bridal Song was a pretty good horse, and he also produces a lot of distance horses. He's a win contender, and the Kentucky Derby is going to be his third race, and this is what we call third off the layoff. It's usually a pretty strong angle for horse players. Usually, a horse's third start off a layoff is sometimes their biggest race. So let's see. So he's pretty good. He's a 2-time Grade 1 winner. The only negative is that he's trained by Todd Pletcher, and a lot of people will tell you that Todd is one of the best trainers in the country, and he is. He wins everything in New York and Florida, but he has a pretty terrible record in the Kentucky Derby, and I'm going to show you that record. I actually made a graph to kind of demonstrate his record. He has 1 win. He's had 40 horses run the Kentucky Derby. He has 1 win, 2 seconds, 3/3. But most of his horses finish somewhere in the middle here. He's had a lot of horses finish 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. A lot of them, a lot more finished towards the back of the pack too. So let me just show you a quick video of Carpe Diem. This is his last race at Bluegrass Stakes. This is Carpe Diem right here. I get a feeling this is a pretty weak race. He did look pretty good winning this race, though. Okay, this is video 2 of the Kentucky Derby Contenders and Pretenders. I did the first 3 in the first video, and so we're going to talk about American Pharoah. He's going to be the favorite. Some pros. His father was Pioneer of the Nile, who was second in the Kentucky Derby, and then his father was Empire Maker, who also was second in the Kentucky Derby. So he's kind of bred for this race. Um, he's trained by Bob Baffert, which I already talked about how good of a trainer he is. Won the Kentucky Derby 3 times. He is a win contender for me. He's the only horse in this field that's a 3-time Grade 1 winner, and he's kind of destroying his competition. He's won by 4 lengths, 3 lengths, 6 lengths, 8 lengths. Nobody really is coming close to him other than his first race. Nobody really has really challenged him, and you'll see that in his race here. This is the Arkansas Derby.
And far right at the back. It's still
American Pharoah's right here in the. He's here in second. Something interesting to note about this race is that Victor Espinosa is his rider, and Victor's already won 2 Kentucky Derbies, so he knows what he's doing, and he's been hot actually. These last year and a half, he's been pretty good. Okay, look at Victor Espinosa. Okay, so Victor Espinosa in this race, he never pulls out the whip to whip him, to ask him to run faster. A lot of people are going to say this is ridiculous, but absolutely, if a jockey pulls the whip and starts whipping the shit out of him, he's going to run faster. And he could have ran this race faster, and he could have beat these horses in the back by a wider margin. Another thing that I noticed about this race is that before he gets to the wire, Victor looks back and he says, well, there's nobody coming, so I'm going to start putting the brakes on him. And he did that with California Chrome last year too. He starts pulling the brakes before he even finishes the race, just to kind of conserve him and not make him work harder than he needs to. He also wins with his ears pricked, his ears up, so he's not being strained. He's not being asked. So let's finish this.
American Pharoah, breathtaking in a mesmerizing performance as he dominates the.
So, some negatives, just like Dortmund, his mother's side is a little weak in pedigree. He also has a dosage index of over 4, which dosage is supposed to be this theory that is supposed to tell us how far a horse will run, and in theory, he's not supposed to go a mile and a quarter, according to this theory. Some people are going to discount this because other horses with the dosage index of over 4 have won the Kentucky Derby. So anyway, there's that. So let's move on to Frosted. Frosted, I don't hate the horse, but I hate him as a contender. Several reasons. Tappet. I don't like Tappets. Go on the model. In the Kentucky Derby, I should say, specifically in the Kentucky Derby, Tappet, when he ran in the Kentucky Derby, he finished like 9th, something like that. And that's where sort of his offspring has finished, 9th and worse. So another thing that I noticed here was that his only 2 wins in his life have come at Aqueduct. Well, this is the name of the track in New York. I kind of feel like this track produces pretty weak horses, to be honest with you. And this race in particular, the Wood Memorial, has produced pretty weak horses. They haven't even hit the board in like the last 10 years. Actually, I don't know if that's true. I may be making that up, but the point is that these horses have been pretty weak. Also, trainer is at 13% in graded stakes, so that's a pretty low number. 13% for a high-profile trainer is not weak. And then he also got beat by Upstart twice, which I don't like either. And I'll explain why later. I am going to show that video real quick. So this is
Frosted is a length and a half behind him. He's been wide on both turns.
Frosted is this horse out here with the white blinkers, this white looking mask thing. Okay, so this like huge bomb, this horse named Contenders, which is also in the Kentucky Derby. I think it was like 20-1 or something. Frosted had to work pretty hard to beat this horse, this like huge bomb. So that just kind of tells me I'm very negative about this race. Okay, moving on. Muktahij. Okay, this horse is very controversial in horse racing circles. A lot of people hate him, and the reason that they're saying that, well, one of the main reasons they say that this horse is going to suck is because he's coming from this race. It's called the UAE Derby, and no UAE Derby winner has ever won the Kentucky Derby or even come close. I think their best record is like 6th. But when you really start looking at that history, you find out that there's only been 4 horses in the history of this race, 4 winners in the history of this race on dirt, specifically on dirt, not Tapeta, which was a distance for several years at Maidan. So there's only been 4 horses, 4 winners that have come and tried to win the Kentucky Derby, and they failed. They haven't been horrible. They finished between like 6th and 9th, which is, that's not good, but it's, they beat a lot of our horses when they came. So I think it's just too small of a sample. The Wood Memorial has been much worse than the UAE Derby and the Kentucky Derby recently. So anyway, and I wrote this here. For some reason, a lot of folks were saying that a lot of like trainers like Bill Mott, I believe, and other folks, other Americans that went to Dubai this year, they were saying that surface, that new dirt surface at Maidan, kind of compares to Churchill Downs. So that's gotta be kind of good, right? That's if he's experienced with dirt that's similar to Churchill Downs, then I see that as a positive. Also, Muktahij's grandpa, his name was Dubai Millennium. He was a pretty good horse. He won the Dubai World Cup on dirt at 1.25 miles, which is the distance and surface of the Kentucky Derby. This is one area where he really stands out. His sire stats and dam sire stats, 8.6 and 8.8, really stands out in this area. Basically just means that he's bred to go long. Like, he's not going to have any trouble getting the distance, and it kind of shows you by his wins are his last 2 wins at 1 mile and 3/16, which is close to the Kentucky Derby distance. It's about a 16th of a mile short. So I like him. Also, he has a 114 equibase figure, which is pretty close to what actually matches Dortmund's top equibase figure, and it's pretty close to Upstart and Materiality's figure. So I'm just going to show you. Let's see. Can I show you quickly?
50. Local time has the guinea safely sewn up. She's 3 lengths in front of good play.
No, this is not what I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you.
By Johnny Be Good, and Elder Jamel Faze had dropped out to be a long last of all, has tapped that.
So this is Muktahij winning the. So this is video 3 of Kentucky Derby Contenders and Pretenders, and this is Muktahij. I should explain that I didn't get to finish didn't get to finish showing you the videos for Mubtahish, so I'm finishing up that thought here. This is the UAE Guinness at a mile, and Mubtahish is in the yellow silks here, and Maftool is in the blue. The reason I'm showing this video, the reason I'm showing this video is because this is one of the only races recently that he's been in a fight, and he lost that fight, but he fought back. Um, well, Maftool, the horse on the outside, beat him. But what I like is he was fighting like Dortmund. He was fighting him till the end. So I kind of feel like he's not going to be one of these horses that quits in the Kentucky Derby. He's gonna fight. He may not win, but he's gonna fight till the end. So I'm gonna play this video. Maftool here was just ran a huge race. He's more of a miler. This is more his distance. And Mubtahish is more of a distance horse. So he gets beat, but it's a fight till the end.
Still coming back at him, but here's the post, and Maftool wins the 2,000 guineas by a head.
I also wanted to show the UAE Derby just to kind of, let's see, come on, work. Okay, I'm gonna try uploading this, see if this works.
The fever has now really test themselves, heading
Now,
towards that back.
in this race, Mubtahish is in close to the rail here in yellow. I'm not sure what's going on with the internet connection. Come on. Okay, so apologize for the technical difficulties. Here we go.
They really test themselves, heading towards that back corner.
So I'm just gonna let this play out. One thing that I didn't mention in the previous video was that Mike DeCock has a pretty good record coming to America. He actually won the 2013 Arlington Million with a horse named Apache, and he got DQ'd. But whenever Mike DeCock comes, he's usually second, third in top class races. So he's a good trainer. So this is where Mubtahish just kind of explodes from the field, and I like that you see that he's getting better as distance go on. He actually looks like his grandpa, Dubai Millennium here. So he wins this race pretty easy. So you know he's going to be he's going to get the distance. I like him. I may use him on top and in the win spot just to be safe, just in case he's a freak. I do like other horses better than him, but I think he is a win contender. Okay, let's move on. Okay, materiality. I absolutely hate. He has big speed figures, but look at his past performances. He has 3 races, and the 4th race is going to be the Kentucky Derby. A big negative here is the Curse of Apollo. If you don't know about the Curse of Apollo, it's just sort of this this idea that a horse needs experience at 2 years old in order to have that foundation and experience to win a big race like the Kentucky Derby. So nobody in over 100 years, no horse has won the Kentucky Derby without racing when they're 2 years old. So this is going to be one of those horses that's just like a Verrazano a few years ago, that I don't expect to be there at the end at all. Another negative is Pletcher, and I've talked in other videos why that's a negative in the Kentucky Derby. He has a very poor record. If you wanted a few positives, he's by Fleet Alex, which was he was a really good horse. He could have won the Triple Crown. He came third in the Kentucky Derby and then won the Preakness and Belmont Stakes. And he is a Grade One winner. He won the Florida Derby. I think the Florida Derby horses are pretty suspect. Well, actually, I think they're good, but not not. I don't like them in the Kentucky Derby this year. All right, El Kabir. I kind of like this horse, but his last effort was so bad. And once I start looking at his PPs, I look at his Grade One races in the Champagne. He was fourth by 17 lengths behind the winner. In the Wood Memorial, he's third, 5 lengths behind the winner. And then when I look at the type of races that he's winning, they're mostly Grade One, Grade Three races. So these are maybe that's just what he is. He's a Grade Three horse. He's not a Grade One quality horse. And even his even his owners didn't think he was really a Kentucky Derby quality horse. He does have a win. If you're looking for some positives, he does have a win at Churchill Downs. But when you start looking at this race more closely, at a mile and the 16th, he was getting pretty tired at the end, and you can see that he won. He barely won by a head. So I don't see it. He's going to be a huge price, but I just don't see it. I'm not even going to show a video of it. It's not really worth it. Upstart. This is a horse that a lot of people are going to like. A lot of people are going to use, and I actually liked them before I disliked them. The reason why is because I think he has a bounce pattern, and for those of you that are sort of new to the sport, a bounce just means that when there's an unusual top effort, it's usually followed by a regression in performance, similarly to a basketball team that scores 150 points. Like, there's no way they're going to score 150 points the next race. That they're going to regress to the mean, to what they average out. And this horse doesn't really necessarily follow that specific pattern where he's ran a huge race. But look at his figures. These are these bold numbers here. Those are his speed figures. They basically just assign a number, which is sort of just the speed figure makers give the horse an assessment of how fast they ran that race, making adjustments for the speed of the track, so on. I don't want to get into it, but just sort of explain that to anybody that's new. So he has this wild swings in speed figures. He runs a really a poor race speed figure wise, and then a huge race. Then he runs a poor race followed by a huge race, and a poor race is coming up next, the Kentucky Derby. So he has a good bad race pattern, and he seems to be always short at the Grade One level. He's not a Grade One winner yet. In the Champagne, he was second. Juvenile, he was third. Florida Derby, he was second. Also, I'm not going to show them, but the last three races, after the wire, he kind of looked dead tired. He looked spent. And I just kind of feel like he's not going to go the distance, although based on this pedigree, he should. These are some very impressive. AP Indy was a very good horse. Touch Gold was pretty good too. I think he won the Belmont Stakes at a mile and a half. But anyway, I don't like him. Okay, this is video 4. Kentucky Derby Pretenders and Contenders 2015. I'm hoping I can finish this in this video, so I'm going to talk really fast. Most of these horses are not going to win. So I'm not going to spend too much time with them. Let's get to it. So we're at far right. He's a pretender. I I feel like he was exposed at the grade 1 level in the Arkansas Derby. He was second by 8 lengths behind the winner, American Pharaoh. So he was really nice at the when he was facing grade 3 quality horses. It's pretty good. He was winning at the Oaklawn. But he's not grade 1 quality. Also, not really big on the pedigree. The sire stats are he's not really supposed to go this distance. And when I looked at he has experience at Churchill Downs, and that's good. He has a win at Churchill Downs. I just don't feel he has the right running style. I just don't think. I don't think he has a chance, to be honest with you. And he's going to be a huge. He's going to be a huge long shot, and a lot of people are going to use him. And I can see him maybe finishing fourth in the Superfecta, but he's not a win contender at all. It's a Knockout is one of these top Pletcher horses that's going to finish. That's going to finish close to the end. I'll go back to this. Oh, yikes. Okay, let's bring this up. We'll go back to this graph that shows Todd Pletcher's record in the Kentucky Derby. I'm not sure what's going on with this. Okay, so it's a Knockout. This is where Todd Pletcher's horses have finished in the Kentucky Derby. It's a Knockout's going to finish back here in the end. If he's lucky, he'll finish in the middle. Okay, so his last race was horrible. He's light on experience. There's no reason to think this horse has a shot. Firing Line is an interesting horse. So the negative is that his father was Lionel David, and he was horrible in the Kentucky Derby when he ran. Lionheart ran a pretty good race. His grandpa. He was on the pace in the Kentucky Derby that he ran. He got beat by Smarty Jones that year. So his pedigree's not horrible, but he's supposed to be more of a sprinter. He is, in my opinion, he has too much speed for his own good. And what I don't like about him is that he's challenging too early. He's not rating. Which means basically just kind of controlling the speed and sitting back from the really speedy, fast horses in the front. Sometimes he's in the front too early, and I don't think that's going to serve him well. He's going to run a big race. He's going to be one of these horses that's turning for home. You're going to see his face. He's going to be one of the top 3-4 horses that are turning for home, but he's turning for home, but he's inevitably going to get passed. I see him finishing maybe third at best. He's a pretty cool horse, though. Here's the Sunland Derby. I'm going to show this real quick. He ends up winning this race by like 15 lengths. I hope this plays. So here's Firing Line. I'm going to fast forward through this.
It was an absolute exhibition of class and amusing talent. Firing Line is going to just go around like a hand canter and hits the Kentucky with so much promise, full of ammunition. Firing Line by...
So he won by a wide margin, but he was facing some very weak horses. This may actually just sort of be a reflection on how good Dortmund has been, because Dortmund has beat him twice. So he's a pretty cool horse. I don't see him winning at all. Dancing Moon, I'm not going to spend too much time on this horse at all. He's a plotter. He ran the best race of his life in his last start. He was second to Carpe Diem. He's not going to win. War Story. War Story is actually interesting. I've never really been a big fan of this horse, but he's one of those bombs that is interesting to me. He's going to be a huge, huge long shot, maybe 40, 50 to 1. And I've kind of noticed this pattern. The bombs that have come in recently in the Kentucky Derby, Commanding Curve, um, Golden Soul, the past few years, they had similarities. And those similarities were that they had both won at Churchill Downs or had a really good race at Churchill Downs. They were both closers, and closer just means that they're horses that come from the back of the pack and do all of their running towards the end. And they were both coming from the Louisiana Derby. They didn't win; they were like third or fourth, but they had a decent race. And with more speed, they may finish well. I'm going to show, and this horse has those same three qualities or characteristics. He has a win at Churchill Downs. He was closing. I'm going to show that real quick. Let's see. Is it this one? Yeah, that's this one. Okay, so here is War Story is 8. If you can see my arrow, you don't even see him on the screen yet. He's number 8. He's way back here. But watch this move. So he's coming. There is. He's coming. There's the 8. So he's making this huge move. He's over here now. Comes wide. So if this was the Kentucky Derby, this is where a lot of the horses start hitting the wall, start getting tired. I could see him maybe being like a Commanding Curve, a Golden Soul, and at this point picking up a few horses and maybe finishing fourth, third. Could be. He's probably not. He's not at this class level, but that's why he's going to be a huge. That's why he's going to be a huge long shot. It's possible. If there's going to be a huge, huge bomb that sort of hits the board, that's fourth or third, I think it's going to be this one, the War Story. Okay, 10 Sendor. 10 Sendor, I don't even know what to say about this horse. This horse has no shot whatsoever. He ran the rest of his life last. He will not repeat it. One Lucky Dane, I just found out today that something went wrong in his workout and he's not going. Stanford is not going to spend a minute talking about this horse. He's another top pletcher that's going to finish towards the back of the pack. Mr. Z, oh God, Mr. Z. He's more of a miler. He's going to hit a wall sometime between a mile and an eighth. He has no shot. Ocho. The good thing is that his father was Street Sense, and Street Sense won the Kentucky Derby. But he doesn't have a real shot. He's a cut below most of these. His trainer's record is pretty poor in graded stakes. Third off a layoff is pretty bad. The only positive is that, he won the Delta jackpot. But that's probably a weak race. All right, let's see. Where are we at? Bolo. I was actually pretty high on this horse, but he's not a dirt horse. He is a turf horse, and he should go back to turf. He doesn't like the dirt. His class made him finish third in both of his last races, but he's not. Made from Lucky, Todd Pletcher again. Basically, you toss all the Todd Pletchers, except for Carpe Diem, maybe. Keen Eyes, a lot of people are going to like this. This horse is really, really slow. He has a win at Churchill Downs, but